A video that I made almost 1 year ago was why pot of greed is banned. The video currently almost has 1 million views, and we'll certainly do a celebration when that happens, but more importantly right now that video has 4,000 comments, and of those 4,000 comments, if I had to take a ballpark guess, about 2,000 of them are just things that say, well, what does it even do? Now this joke is one of the most popular jokes slash memes in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community, and it's one of the many that I want to talk about in today's video. So today's video we are going to seriously be analyzing or answering popular Yu-Gi-Oh memes. A lot of people pinpoint the pot of greed meme on one of two places, but I think that they both equally played a role in making the meme popular. So the first place that it came from is the anime, and I guess in the anime every single time someone activates pot of greed they have to read the effect out loud, and this can get pretty tedious because pretty much everyone knows what that card does and it's not a very complicated effect. Also, I obviously think that Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh's big video, Pot of Greed Explained, has something to do with the popularity of this discussion, and I've found personally that if I mention Pot of Greed even for 1 second in a video, no matter how deep into the video it is, I'll get a ton of comments from people, some grade A comedians that say, well, what does Pot of Greed do? I don't understand it. Interestingly enough, you can find a lot of those comments on my Jar of Greed discussion video from people that likely don't play the game and don't quite realize that Jar of Greed is not the card that people are memeing about. I see this meme as mostly harmless and also pretty popular in that a lot of people that don't even play Yu-Gi-Oh know what Pot of Greed does. I think the appeal here is mainly that Pot of Greed is so darn simple. Where do you draw the cards from? Well, your deck of course, but a lot of people are just like, how easy can they make a card to understand? What if we pretended like it was really complicated? That brings us to a Duel Links meme, and this one is with no monsters left on field, I summon Dark Magician and attack for a game. Now if you don't know where this comes from, it comes from the really cringy original Duel Links trailer, and in that trailer one of the duelists says that exact line, and it's funny because as many of you know, you can't actually normal summon Dark Magician and attack for game. It doesn't actually work, and you might say, well, what if he's tribute summoning it? Well, he specifically says, I don't have any monsters left on the field. So what's so funny about this meme and why it really caught on, I think especially in the actual players of Yu-Gi-Oh that are playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh, is that this thing that was featured in the trailer, this ridiculous line, doesn't even work. Like, that's why it's so funny. The fact that this thing was put into the trailer when in fact it's not even how the game works is just really short-sighted. I don't know how this made it into the final trailer. Sure, it's like an epic quote-unquote line, I guess, in the terms of like a Duel Links trailer, but it's not something that you can actually do in the game outside of some really convoluted combos to get Dark Magician down to a lower level while in your hand, like using cost down. But overall, it just seems really silly that this would be featured in the trailer because Duel Links, even though it is different from the TCG, has not changed the tribute summon rules. And then we have, does Mystical Space Typhoon negate cards? And this is a thing that I've actually made an entire video about, so if you'd like to seriously know the answer more in depth than I'm going to talk about in this video, make sure to go check out that video. It's out there somewhere. But where does this come from? Well, this is from gameplay. This is not so much related to the anime. I'm not really sure if it even came up in the anime, but the basic gist is that Mystical Space Typhoon says destroy one spell or trap card on the field. And if you don't know a lot about the more in-depth Yu-Gi-Oh rules, you might think, like many of us did back when we were children, that this actually can negate any spell or trap card. If this card worked this way, it would be ridiculously overpowered that probably wouldn't be allowed in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. To get a card that can just negate a spell or trap card, you have to give up a lot. Maybe like Solemn Judgment where you pay half your life points, or Dark Bribe where you give your opponent a free draw, but overall Mystical Space Typhoon doesn't really do that. Where this comes up the most often, at least for me personally, is when I see people talking to new players. This is often one of the most asked rulings when you first get into the game. A lot of people that haven't read any cards, maybe don't understand the rules to the fullest extent, don't really understand how Mystical Space Typhoon works. That's perfectly fine, and I think it's not really something to make fun of someone for not knowing that MST doesn't negate, but that is why I made that video talking about it, because I know it confuses a lot of people, especially newer players. This meme isn't around so much anymore, but there was a free Stratos meme going around, and if you don't know what that refers to, it refers to the fact that people wanted Elemental Hero Stratos off the ban list. Elemental Heroes are a fan favorite archetype and probably always will be, maybe not even just from people that were a fan of the GX series. So a lot of people are just excited for hero monsters, and Stratos is sort of like one of the best hero monsters because it can search any of them in the game. The big deal here is that Elemental Hero Stratos was banned way back in 2013, sort of randomly, and it took a long long time for it to go back to 1 copy per deck, and it's currently at 2 copies per deck, but for a long time, like literal years, the card was banned, and we saw so many more powerful cards sort of rain terror upon the competitive metagame that it seemed like a lot of people were wondering, well, why is Elemental Hero Stratos still banned if it's not even that good? The card eventually, when it came to Limited, was played in a few decks, but overall the card has been mostly power crept by modern strategies. That makes it all the better then that Stratos is finally back, because we can fully know now that the card isn't as overpowered as maybe Konami thought it was way back in 2013. Another gameplay slash card mechanic based meme is Pot of Desires a -9? Now if you don't know what Pot of Desires is, that's perfectly fine, but this card is very similar to Pot of Greed. It says banish the top 10 cards of your deck face down to draw 2 cards, then it's a hard once per turn effect. So if you've been out of the game for a while and you just stumbled on this video, you might think this card isn't very good, but in fact when this card came out it was about $70 to $100 a copy, and it was played as a 3-of in virtually every single deck that was topping competitive events. However, there was a large platform of casual players, especially budget casual players, that didn't really like this card, and one of the things that they said is that it's a -9 in card advantage. Now card advantage looks at how many cards you have in your hand, how many cards you have in your field, as well as how many cards your opponent has in those 2 spots both before and after you activate the card. So something like Pot of Greed is a +1 because you and your opponent both start out with however many cards. You lose 1 card, the Pot of Greed itself, because it goes to the graveyard, and then you draw 2. So overall is a net +1 in card advantage. Now card advantage doesn't actually deal with cards in your deck. That doesn't actually factor into that because those are cards you didn't have access to already. So in the case of something like Pot of Desires, even though it clearly has a huge drawback that makes it much worse than Pot of Greed, it is technically in card advantage only discussions a +1, and that is a pretty big deal. However, a lot of people that didn't understand card advantage thought it was a -9 because they were factoring in the cards getting banished from their deck, and while there definitely is a debate about how big or how small that drawback is, there certainly is not a debate about whether or not those cards that are banished actually factor into card advantage. This meme I think was sort of like the new iteration of the MST negation meme, because it once again was something that you could ask someone when you first met them if they said they played Yu-Gi-Oh, and you very quickly could figure out how competitive or casual they were. Once again here, you don't have to like Pot of Desires to play this game competitively. However, it is important to know if the card is a +1 or a -9, because at the very least that'll tell if you have a basic understanding of how card advantage works. And then I want to end this video talking about some memes that maybe not all of you know about, and these are ones that are mostly coming from Yu-Gi tubers or YouTube videos about Yu-Gi-Oh. So the first one, and this one isn't really around anymore because the card is banned, is the Firewall Pass meme from the Farfa Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Now this was a meme that was started because in a lot of replays that he would get submitted to him, he would notice that people would consolidate their entire board into making Firewall Dragon and then actually not having anything to back it up, not even cards to trigger its on-field effect. Now this meme is funny because I think it goes to show that people read cards that are very powerful, like Firewall Dragon, which, don't get me wrong, was overpowered, but they don't realize that it has to be used in specific ways to actually be competitively viable. The Firewall Pass meme, once again, is sort of similar to the Desires -9 or the MST negate, where it really goes to show if people are just summoning a bunch of monsters and consolidating them into one Firewall Dragon and nothing else, they understand that Firewall Dragon, or they've heard that Firewall Dragon is a very powerful card, but they don't really realize how it's supposed to be used to its actual fullest potential. And I thought it'd be fun to end today's video actually talking about a meme that's in my own comment section from my own videos, and that is, hey Dzeeff, are you a pack opening channel or not? So this originated because way back long ago I bought some product from a locals when it was closing down. I just wanted to cash out all of my store credit, and I bought a lot of packs and I opened them, and I remember saying in that video, by the way, I'm not a pack opening channel, because at that point I only opened maybe like a couple packs a year on camera. I didn't really do that. I also wasn't really posting that much back then either, but the stuff that I was posting wasn't pack openings and still isn't pack openings for the most part. However, over the course of the next year, I started opening more and more packs, especially whenever a new set comes out. I like to open stuff so you guys can see what's in them, and it sort of became like a meme, right? Because how many times can I open packs on camera without being a pack opening channel? Well, I still stand by that I'm not a pack opening channel, and the reason is that if you were someone that wanted to subscribe to someone to watch packs being opened and nothing else, if you subscribe to me, you'd probably be pretty pissed, right? Because there aren't a lot of pack opening opening videos on my channel. In most months, you're looking at 3 to maybe 5 videos that are opening packs, and usually that number is at the higher end when there's actually a lot of new releases in one month. Like for example, at the end of this month, we're going to have the Megatons, and those are pretty exciting. Those are very competitive. There's also stuff to talk about, so I really think that that will be a time when I upload multiple videos opening packs. But in general, if you wanted to only watch pack openings, this is really not the channel for you. But it is sort of all in good fun. I know people don't actually think I'm a pack opening channel. I also know that not everyone likes the pack opening videos, which is why I don't do them very often. But as a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, we all open packs from time to time, and because this is my job, there's no reason for me not to film them. I know this video was a little different from my normal discussion videos, and I'm not really just going to make a video where I just read memes and laugh at them. It's not really my style. I don't think that'd be very interesting. I've even tried it in the past to mild success, but I think actually looking at the popular memes, especially the ones that have sort of transcended the actual players and have made it into real pop culture, like the Pot of Greed meme, I think it's kind of interesting. That's sort of what I do with card discussions or deck discussions, just applying it to Yu-Gi-Oh memes. If you have any suggestions for a possible sequel to this video, if this one actually goes well, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about what the other popular Yu-Gi-Oh memes are that I could analyze in a future installment of this series. I'll see you later though. Thank you so much for watching today's discussion video. Goodbye.